So a very good noon to one and all. Now in this lecture, the first instrument you have to know about this. It's a very important instrument in this unit. So which is the micrometer. So now let us start the discussion about this micrometer. So some of the points of the micrometer. So here a general micrometer was designed and developed by the James Watt in 1772. So there are two dials are there in that instrument, and the two pointers are also there. Then we have that U-shaped body of the micrometer, and now we are using the U-shaped body of micrometer with little variations. So the anvil is fixed to the body, and this is movable spindle is there. So we have to keep the workpiece in between them, and we have to move the move, and then by reading these two dials you can get the dimension of workpiece. And then this micrometer is developed by Gene Palmer in 1848. That means approximately after 70 to 75 years, the Gene Palmer improved the micrometer. Here we can see this it's a too huge. We have to fix the micrometer to maybe a table surface by using the bolts. So whereas this is a handheld very small instrument. So now we discussed about the anatomy of micrometer, outside micrometer. Now this is the here we have a frame which is made up of steel, and you can see the heat insulator is also there. A plastic material is provided. So when the operator holds the micrometer, his body temperature will not flow, and heat will not flow to the body of micrometer, so that the thermal expansion the body due to the body temperature of operator will be very less. Now we have an anvil fixed to the frame of micrometer, and then we have a spindle which can be advanced or it can be retracted inside the sleeve. So here a sleeve wherein we have to insert the spindle, and the spindle has finely cut threads. Okay, so they are ground threads. The pitch of the screw is normally 0.5 mm. Now the two measuring faces are there. The measuring faces are very important in this instrument. So they are heat treated, ground and lapped. Then stabilization is required so that internal stresses are relieved, so that they will not deform, and the faces are lapped, and the measuring face flatness and parallelism between the two surfaces is very important in this instrument. So flatness and parallelism can be checked by using the optical flats, and the normal flatness value will be 1 micron or less than that, and the parallelism will be 1 micron or less than that, which depends upon the accuracy of micrometer. And now you can see this, there is a clamp and a spindle lock, and for locking the spindle at any desired location, there is a sleeve on which we have a scale graduations is also there. So this is called a sleeve scale or main scale. And then we have the thimble also is there. So this is thimble portion. So the side of the thimble, right side of the thimble, we can see that they are knurled for easy rotation of the thimble, and the left end of the thimble We have again graduations. We will see about this graduation after some time. And then there is a nut here which is fixed to the inner sleeve. So when we rotate the thimble is rigidly fixed to the screw. When we rotate the thimble, the screw will move in and out. That means the spindle can be advanced towards the anvil or it can be retracted. Now sometimes due to continuous usage there may be some clearance between the screw and nut. So we have to adjust the clearance. For that there is an adjustment nut. When we rotate the adjustment nut, the clearance between the main nut and screw will be reduced. Main nut and screw will be reduced and hence slackness or backlash can be eliminated. So and then we have a ratchet stop arrangement to apply the uniform measuring force. So we have to apply the uniform measuring force. That means a ratchet stop is also there at the right side end point. It is a ratchet wheel. So this is the construction. Okay. So now what how we are using the micrometer. So in this frame is also there in the micrometer. We can see it is a ribbed shape. So ribbings are there so that it becomes very rigid, and then the range is mentioned of about 0 to 25 mm, and then the resolution of this instrument is 0.01 mm. So we can see the carbide tipped anvil and carbide tipped spindle. So carbide materials we are using for the anvil and spindle. So the clamp for the clamping the spindle, the thimble, sleeve and ratchet. Okay. Now before using this micrometer we have to clean the faces, anvil face and spindle face with a clean cloth or smooth paper so that dust particles and oily layer is removed. And then we have to unclamp the spindle, and then slowly we have to rotate the thimble, and then we have to operate the ratchet till we get one or two clicks. Now we have to observe the reading. Now we can see the reference line, and this is the 0 on thimble. It is not coinciding with 0 on the sleeve. That means there is some error. We have to eliminate this 0 error before using this instrument. For that an arrangement is provided. So when we rotate the micrometer, so this is the view. You can see the back side of the sleeve. There is a small hole is there. Now a spanner is provided with the micrometer. Now we have to use this spanner and we have to rotate sleeve in proper direction so that the 0 error is eliminated by using this spanner. Okay. So now we can see the 0 error is eliminated. Now this instrument is ready for usage. Now we can see the anvil surface, which is the view of the anvil surface. Now the carbide tipped anvil surfaces are also available so that wear is very less. Now the flatness of measuring surface is as well as anvil surface is very important in this instrument, as we have talked about this earlier, and they are ground and lapped and flatness error will be less than 1 micrometer, and the spindle surface and the anvil surface should be parallel. If there is any taper or inclination, then error will be creep in. So it is very essential that there is these two surfaces, anvil surface and spindle surface, should be parallel, and parallelism of is of about less than 1 micron is maintained. So the parallelism and the flatness can be checked by using the optical flat. So this shows a close view of the spindle surface. So it is very essential that we should maintain all these precision instruments whenever they are not in use for a long time. We should apply some petroleum jelly to all the important parts, moving parts of this instrument. Now we can see the coating was not provided. It means there is a corrosion. Now the screw can be removed out of the sleeve. Now we have to observe the threads. Very fine threads are here. The pitch of the metric micrometer will be normally 0.5 mm, and we can also observe the taper on the thimble surface. Now we can see the graduations very clearly. So on this micrometer stand we can clamp it, and the inclination of this can be adjusted by rotating this knob. Okay, so we can adjust by using this knob. So whenever required we can use the micrometer stand. If the workpiece is very heavy, then we have to hold the workpiece with both hands. Then in that case micrometer stand will be very useful. So in this see this figure, by using this now some inner details of micrometer we can observe here. So there is a adjusting nut, and then we have a main nut also is there. So main nut has both internal and external threads. So inside also there are threads, and this will be meeting with the main screw of the micrometer. And outside of the main nut also we have threads. So when we rotate the adjusting nut, again slots are provided, and using the spanner we can rotate this adjusting nut. In the main nut we have slots, the slots are cut. So when we rotate the adjusting nut, the main nut gets compressed and it embraces the main screw, and hence if there is any clearance, that is eliminated and backlash is eliminated. Okay, and then the ratchet mechanism assembly told that ratchet is used to apply the uniform measuring force. So when the measuring torque exceeds the certain value which is decided by the spring. Okay, so here spring is also there. So this spring tension decides what is the amount of force that is applied on the workpiece. So generally it will be like 5 newtons, 6 newtons and 7 newtons. And since we apply uniform pressure, this ratchet mechanism is used. So this is how uniform pressure is applied on the workpiece. So for example, now we will learn how we are used to measure the thickness of the plate. So now keep the plate in between the two working surfaces. So slowly have to operate the thimble. Now the spindle is advancing and is moving towards the workpiece. Now it has touched the workpiece, and by using the ratchet to apply the uniform pressure, and then clamping the spindle. Slowly we have to remove the workpiece. Now we have to take the reading. So now the main scale, means the sleeve scale reading is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so all the from starting to coincide point. So 4 mm is the coincide point, and then on the thimble. So we have a 0, 1 second, 2 seconds, second graduations is coinciding. So that means the second graduation means that means 2 into, so least count is 0.01, so that is 0.02. so the thickness of plate is main scale is 4 mm plus thimble reading into so graduations into least count, so 4.02 mm. Okay, so this is the working of the micrometer. Okay, and now so take the different examples of this micrometer, various work parts are there. So you can check the diameter also, you can check. And next, by using this instrument we can check the length, diameter, so all the linear measurements we can calculating by using the micrometer. Okay, now let us see the some of the variants of micrometer. So there are various kinds of micrometer available in the market. Now let us study the inside micrometer and disc type micrometer, large micrometers, and dial type micrometer. So now this shows the front view of inside micrometer. You can see this in the sleeve. On the sleeve we have the main scale is also there, and then this is the thimble and the ratchet is also there. And now the jaw is fixed to the sleeve, and when we rotate the thimble, the spindle moves in and out depending upon the direction of thimble. So to the spindle a moving caliper or moving jaw is fixed. So in this case this part of jaw, this jaw will move and this is fixed to the sleeve. So and now you can see the range of this instrument. It is of about 5 mm to 30 mm. So this is the range, and then we can see the markings on the sleeve. So it is the reverse direction. So in this reverse direction is also there, so that this is 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 like that. So between two graduations here, this represents the 1 mm, and below this we have a markings, so we'll give 0.5 reading. Okay, so various ranges are available like 175 to 200 mm with 0.01 mm resolution. Okay, so here again thimble graduations are visible. Now this is the back view of the inside micrometer. This is used for measuring the inside dimensions like distance between groove or inside hole diameter. For such things we can see this, we can use this. Now what we can see this in this photo, there is a guide rod. Okay, so there is a guide. So when we move the thimble, the movable jaw will move, and this is guided by this guide rod and guides. Okay, so guided by the guide rod and guides. So the resolution of this instrument is 0.01 mm. Now we can observe one thing here. The jaws of this instrument are controlled or reduced. So this is the necessary when we want to measure the inside hole diameter. So if we have flat surfaces, then the measurement will not be correct. We can see the example here. So some sketches are so there is a hole. If you have flat jaw, then the contact will be like this. So there is a error in this instrument. So we have to assume the working. And now because of the reduced jaw, the contact will be here, and then there will not be any error. So this is the reason why the radius is provided on the jaw. Now another one is a disc type micrometer. So this is used for measurement of spur gears and helical gears. So and next one is the large micrometer. So now in the market very large micrometers are available with the range 25 to 2000 mm. Now we can observe the measuring head range remains same, and 0 to 25 mm, and then we use setting masters, so set the distance. Okay, so the flatness of master surface is 0.3 micrometer and parallelism of 2 micrometer. So it's a very which have we can show that flatness, and very good flatness is achieved by using this equipment. So they are ground and lapped, and also the parallelism between this working surface and work surface is very important, and it is maintained 2 micrometer or less than 2 micrometer parallelism is maintained, so that we can get accurate measurement. So next one is a dial micrometer, wherein we have a body, and then a spindle is also there, anvil clamp. So this ball in this it is very common micrometer, and we have a moving anvil, and the important feature of this micrometer is anvil, and also moves in and out. There is a slider to move the anvil in and out, and at the other end a dial is fixed. So dial is fixed, so this is the dial micrometer. Dial is fixed, so the movement of anvil also can be fixed by using this clamp, and then movement of spindle it can be clamped by using this clamp. Okay, now what is the advantages of this dial micrometer is so see this dial which can be used to maintain the uniform pressure. So in the absence of ratchet, the dials are provided. Here in this ratchet is not there, so in the absence of ratchet, so dials are provided, so that when we rotate the thimble, now we have the workpiece here. When we rotate the thimble, the spindle moves, and then force is applied to the dial indicator, and then the pointer moves. So by noting down the amount of rotation of the pointer, we can maintain uniform pressure on the workpiece. Okay, so then we can keep the workpiece in between the anvil, in between the surfaces, so we can read the anvil moves towards the workpiece, and then we have to note down what is the reading. If the reading is within the limits, the workpiece is accepted. If it is beyond the workpiece, it is rejected. So this is the clear cut information about the micrometers. So various micrometers and various types of micrometer. Okay, and next topic is I hope everyone understand the micrometer concept. And next concept, and next important concept is dial indicator. Okay, which is also very important in this unit. So dial indicator, so in this linear measuring instruments, dial indicator is also very important. So this is the dial indicator. In this there is a bezel lock, and this is the dial, and we have a bigger dial and a small dial is also there. So the resolution of the dial is 0.01, and for each revolution of the big pointer, the small pointer will move by 1 digit, 1 graduation. So the range of this measuring instrument is 0 to 5 mm with resolution of 0.01 mm. Now there are limit hands. We can set these limit hands for upper and lower limit to set the tolerances. Whenever the pointer goes beyond the limits, then the workpiece can be rejected. So this can be used for limit gauging purpose, for comparing the dimension of workpiece with the nominal value. And this is the stem, and here stem and plunger, and there is a carbide contact point is there. So most of the parts are made of high strength stainless steel, so that it will be rigid and it will be very strong. So the main specifications of dial indicators, these are available to work in normal working conditions as well as condition where there is a splash of coolant. So the waterproof types are also available, and back plunger types are also available. In some cases we have to use the dial indicator where in the plunger is at back, and then long stroke dial indicators are also available with range of 0 to 300 mm, and the dial size can be 31 to 36 mm for a very compact dial indicator. Where space is not available, such compact dial type indicator can be used, and large diameter dials are also available with 92 mm diameter for easy reading. Now you can see the graduations available in 0.01 mm, 0.001 mm with a range of 10 mm, 5 mm, 1 mm like that, and in the bracket we have indicated range per revolution. So per revolution the range is 1 mm, and then accuracy of these dial indicators, so the overall accuracy is 13 microns for this particular range, and for 0.001 graduation the overall accuracy will be 5 micrometer, and repeatability will be like 0.5 micrometer, 3 micrometer. So depending upon our requirement we have to select the appropriate dial indicators. So we have a contact points. So various contact points are there. So types of contact points. So the contact point plunger ends are available like ball point end, shell point, spherical point, conical point, knife edge. So flat point, needle point, lever point. Depending upon the application we have to select the proper contact point. For example, we have a very narrow groove, like we have very narrow groove, so we have a narrow groove. In such case we have to go for a knife edge, so it will enter into the groove comfortably. So similarly the spherical type also, so the contact point will be with large radius. When the workpieces are pushed from the sideways, then such spherical type indicators will be very useful in the manufacturing for the measurement. So also there are lever type indicators. So see this construction of dial indicator. So this is the measuring spindle or plunger. So there is a built in rack in the spindle, and we can also see the pinion. So when the plunger moves, this pinion will also move. That means rotation. And there is a set of gate train. And this pinion is fixed to the bigger gear. This is in contact in mesh and another gear. Like there is a train of gears, so the displacement gets amplified. Okay. So the dial indicator main working is we have to move the dial indicator on the workpiece surface. The contact point will touches the work surface, then readings will be noted down. Okay, so this diagram shows the dial indicator with the magnetic stand. We can see the magnetic stand, and we can also see how the dial indicator is fixed to the magnetic stand. Now I will explain how to use the dial indicator for comparing the sizes of workpieces. That means the dial indicator is used as a comparator. Now this is the dial indicator, and the dial of the dial indicator, and then this stem is there, which is used for fixing the dial indicator to the stand. Now the plunger and the tip of the plunger or spindle. Now the stand of the dial indicator and reference surface datum is there. Now initially we should know what is the approximate thickness of workpieces, and then we have to set the dial indicator. For that, the approximate size of workpiece is 10 mm, and I'm taking the slip gauge of 10 mm. You can see the slip gauge. uh, so the 10 mm slip gauge, by putting in the surface after cleaning, then now the set the dial is to 0. Now I just lift the spindle, I will remove the slip gauge, then I put it in the workpiece. So the thickness of workpiece is to be measured by keeping that on the datum surface. Now I will take the reading. So now when we lift the spindle, it moves in clockwise direction. Okay. Now we keep the workpiece. Now the dial indicator reading is a resolution of about 0.01 mm. Okay. So the magnetic so the applications of dial indicator, various applications of dial indicator, it can be used for comparison purpose. So comparison of workpieces with set the level, and then this can be used for setting fixtures. So we want to set the jigs and fixtures on the machine, so whether it is properly fixed or not, whether it is properly aligned or not, for checking that we can use this. And also for some tests of on various kinds of machine. For example, we want to check whether the slides, various slides like tailstock, quill, and saddles, whether they are parallel, whether they have parallel movement with respect to axis or not. If there is a error, what is the amount of error, and if there is a run out of the spindle of lathe, we can check by using the dial indicator. So for alignment testing, we can use this dial indicator, and also for backlash checking we can use dial indicators, and also for direct in measurement this can be used. Okay, so I hope everyone understand about this concept of dial indicator. So there are some of the replicas or some of the various indicators. So dial test indicator, digital indicator, and digital thickness indicator, dial thickness indicator, so digital depth gauge, universal caliper. These are the various forms of indicators also there in the linear measuring instruments. So mainly, so dial indicator and micrometer is the main important instrument in the linear measuring instrument concept. So and in the coming lectures we will discuss about the some of the slip gauges and some angle measurement instruments and gauges. Okay, so in this unit uh, you have, in this lecture you have observed about the micrometers and dial indicator. Okay, stay home, stay safe. Thank you. Read well. Okay, bye.